Like one final bit of managerial coming, in this case, going to discuss. Luciano Spalletti has left Napoli just to take a little break. I believe Gary Neville might refer to as a maxi retirement. He does love his mini retirements, doesn't he? Which seem to involve the weekend. Mike, I mean, you've kind of gone through not a managerial career, but a playing career. You must have surely on occasions have wanted to take some time out just to reflect and enjoy things. Is it surprising that more people don't follow Spalletti's approach and Pep Guardiola's approach and just give themselves time to think and enjoy life?
I think so. When you look at what Spalletti has done, miracle season for Napoli, historical season for them, I think that there's a strategic move in this because you're going to get jobs galore coming your way. And I just wonder if it's time to take a breather before he decides what he's going to do next. When you have a job like you did with Napoli, there's going to be so much pressure to do it again, to defend the title. Can you take that extra step in the Champions League? And this squad is going to get picked apart left and right this summer. If not this summer, then the following summer. I think Spalletti is wise. I think more managers should do this because it helps you give a refreshed perspective on what your next goal and challenge is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, Spalletti was quite honest about it. I think it reflects exactly how much effort it's taken to get this third Scudetto over the line for Napoli. It's been a very labor-intensive couple of years for him in Naples, and that drains you massively. And realistically, we were talking earlier about sort of Italian clubs' chances of going far in Europe again next season. Can we see Napoli sort of making it through this summer without some of the star names, perhaps at least being, tempted away by or having their heads turned by some offers from bigger clubs?
United.
It's difficult. And, for me to imagine Napoli sort of having as good a chance next season as they did, this one just ending to go and make it all the way to a Champions League final, I struggle to see it. So I think I can understand where Spalletti's coming from, because realistically, sort of now you're entering this phase with Napoli as Italian champions. You almost need somebody who can potentially come in and maybe lead that next sort of at least sort of 2 to 4 year period, where you try and sustain, being Italian champions, try to become that dominant force like Juve have been before, like Inter have been, like Milan as well. And it's going to be really difficult. And I don't think, it's necessarily anything to take away from Spalletti about if he feels like he's not going to be able to invest sort of, what's necessary in terms of, physically, emotionally, mentally. So, I think he's making the right decision. He leaves on a high because I'm not convinced it's going to be the easiest act to follow.
Rafa Cardenas in the comments, Napoli won't repeat this season. Spalletti knew it. Wise decision to leave on a high. Good luck to whoever takes over. And in terms of the managers being linked with taking over, Thiago Motta, who JJ, as you well know, has done great things since retiring. Luis Enrique, he sounds like he's the front runner. And we're hearing about Antonio Conte being linked as well now. If ever there's a manager who has given the impression he could just really do with a little bit of a break, not taking things quite so seriously, enjoy some Prosecco, Antonio. That's what I would say. Don't be diving feet first into trying to follow Luciano Spalletti. I'm fascinated as to where, and this might be maybe the question we leave it on. I'm fascinated as to where Spalletti might land next. He's had one spell outside Italy with Zenit St. Petersburg, 5 years, 5 pretty successful years when Zenit were one of the richest clubs in all Europe. Beyond that, he's achieved great things at Roma, even if that didn't always translate to titles. His team with the false nine of Francesco Totti was one of the most intriguing in their era in Italy and in Europe. And now he's the same with this Napoli team that we've all fallen in love with here on House of Champions and beyond. JJ first and then Mike. What should Spalletti, where would you like to see Spalletti land next, and which Premier League club exactly is it?
I mean, I am curious to see where Spalletti goes next, because he's almost done the tour of the big Italian clubs possible for him to go to. So you do wonder if maybe there is another sort of unexpected destination that could come for him next. I do believe that he intends to take a year out based on the comments he gave on Monday, which is quite interesting. I think as well, De Laurentiis has hinted that despite the fact that discussions took place with Luis Enrique, it sounds like Enrique would prefer a Premier League move. Also, one other thing to add on that, the last time Conte followed Spalletti, he did end Inter's wait for a Serie A title. So maybe there is a little bit of logic to Conte following in Spalletti's footsteps, because it's something that they've done before. But in terms of Spalletti, I don't think that he'll be rushed. I don't think he'll be short of suitors. I think there'll be a number of clubs who really fancy him. But as much as I would love to imagine him in the Premier League, I'm not sure I could see it. I think he might be tempted to go somewhere a bit further afield. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's one of the big names that would be tempted by Saudi Arabia, despite the fact I'm sure that there would be some very lucrative offers proposed to him. It's a curious one. I mean, Russia, obviously that option is completely off the table, these days, and there's no sort of equivalent, posting to that. But then again, you look at what De Zerbi has managed to do, sort of treading a similar kind of Eastern Europe and then, coming to the Premier League route. Maybe that is something that Spalletti would look at and consider.
When I look at Spalletti, and we've talked about the circuit that he's done in Italy, there's two clubs that remain, and there's two clubs to keep an eye on. AC Milan, young team. Pioli's done amazing with them. Pressure on Pioli now to get that team back to the Scudetto title and get that team over the hump in the Champions League. And I just wonder, should something happen with Pioli, if Spalletti, the timing of it, if his phone doesn't ring off, and the melee that is Juventus, there will be major overhaul in Turin over the next year or two. I wonder, once the tides settle, if that's a club that he doesn't get poached by. So those are my two teams to keep an eye on.
I've got two fun ones, one of which I am stealing from Rafa Cardenas, although I will insist I'd thought of it before. But first of all, club level, let's assume he does take the full year out and enjoys it. I mean, I don't think Barcelona at the moment would be in any rush to get rid of Xavi, but I would love to see Spalletti with something like the Barcelona team we expect to have in the coming years. I think he could play really interesting football that fits the Barcelona model. But the other one, and kudos Rafa, I thought this was the obvious answer, the correct answer as well. Come 2024, Roberto Mancini will may well have feel like his time at the Azzurri is up. I would love to see Luciano Spalletti take the helm there. That would be fantastic. We wish him the best, and we wish all of you the best, and we're very grateful to you all for joining us here on House of Champions. Europa League final coming up tomorrow night. I can hardly wait. Thank you so much for listening, and please do take a minute to leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you listen to your podcast, we're there.